This meeting is now being recorded.
Yes, hello everybody to this a new session of the XStepCafe. We had some trouble last time, and I apologize deeply for that. That some people tried to log in and it didn't work, and we thought nobody was interested, so that's why I put out this blog post here, and still it was interesting to see how the feeling of you is that you still want this and want to participate as well, a lot of you. So another thing I just wanted to talk to you about is the timing. Unfortunately, the usual timing, which is 3 to 4 p.m. German time, is not good for me anymore because I've got a lot of meetings there. So I need to shift either before or after. So now I shifted before to give all people in India and Australia also the chance probably to participate. But I will create another post probably to check what the best time is. Do I do it after or before? Yes, and as I wrote here, today's topic, we have prepared a topic, or better, Uwe has prepared, I didn't prepare anything. Uwe has prepared a topic where he explains something about the prototype for extension of the Xsteps for other areas in ERP, and I think best he will describe it. So I'll just hand over to Uwe, unless nobody has any comments on what I just said, on timing or something like that. No? Okay, then we just stop sharing here, and yeah, Uwe, it's your stage.
Okay. Hello everybody. So what I'm going to tell you is something that we call the extension of Xstep implementation. These are results of a feasibility study and prototyping that I did together with colleagues from SAP Consultant. And the main purpose is to check how much effort or how easy or hard it would be to provide execution step functionality also for reference operation sets or maintenance orders. I hope you can see the PowerPoint slide. I will just go into the presentation mode. Okay, everybody sees the slides?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yes. We see your presenter mode,
okay.
Not the full screen mode, so something is probably...
I have to switch the screen.
Hey Arne, how are you? This is Raghu.
Hi Raghu, I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. That's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to wait a little bit until Uwe is set up here.
Yeah. I'll try to. So hopefully,
yeah.
you know.
That's better now. Yeah.
I just changed the monitor. Okay. First of all,
and maybe please, if you don't mind, please mute your phone somehow. So there's some heavy breathing going on right now. So if you have a question, of course, you can unmute yourself at any time. It's just it's more clear for the recording as well. So thank you very much.
Okay. Here we go. Brief look at the agenda, the small introduction we already had. I will tell you something about the scope and of the feasibility study. Most important are the challenges that we faced. And after having, let's say, some couples of words about required coding changes and the blockers we detected and solved during prototyping, you'll see demo part, and there we'll show you something about Xstep usage in standard routing in reference operation sets, and also Xstep usage in maintenance orders, the complete chain from Xstep maintenance via then creation of electronic work instructions for maintenance orders with the help of control instructions. Okay. Big fat disclaimer. What you see here is just a feasibility study and prototype, and there's until now no planned SAP development activity. So this information that you get is quite, say, not part of the development portfolio, but it was also important for us to know if there are requirements for having such a functionality from the market, and also then perhaps to be able to trigger follow-up activities, which of course can't be triggered by me because I left the Xstep field quite for a long time. Okay. What was the initial idea? And the initial idea we had when we developed Xsteps quite a couple of years ago was that we didn't want to provide only a replacement for a classical way of maintaining process instructions in the PPPI area, but we also thought that it would be helpful for discrete manufacturers to be able to use PP sheets and control instructions and process messages for handling their shop floor activities. And therefore we started with implementing Xsteps for master recipes and for manufacturing orders, meaning process orders and production orders. But we had to stop at a point in time where we wanted to go for the next step and implement Xsteps for standard routings. And quite some time passed until we have been able to implement execution steps for standard routings with enhancement package 3 of ERP 2005. And until this time, Xsteps are also used by discrete manufacturers across a lot of industries, which is quite fine because we intended to do so. Okay, but there are still some points or some applications in the ERP environment that would be potential candidates for Xstep usage, and this is what the prototype is about. The major part of the idea is also to reuse Xstep coding and also the coding that was prepared for process management as far as it was possible. And we also wanted to minimize changes in existing SAP coding. Idea also was the provision of homogeneous process management components, meaning the labeling and the look and feel for the control recipe monitor, or control instruction monitor, or the maintenance transaction for electronic work instructions should get more common labels and also additional possibilities for searching for maintenance orders as an example. And also the idea of this prototype was to check if we have any challenges or blockers that haven't been clear as we first thought about extending implementation for execution steps to other routing types, task list types, and order categories. Okay. The scope of this feasibility study prototype, we also had it for additional task list types for Xstep adoption. And here there are, let's see, a lot of task list types you might be familiar with. And colored in green are those task list types where we detected, okay, Xstep implementation makes sense. Unfortunately, task list type inspection plan hasn't got similar structures like master recipes or standard routings, meaning it's not that operation oriented like other routing types, and therefore we skip the implementation for the execution steps. In blue colored, we have those task list types that are used by repetitive manufacturing with labels like reference or rate routing or rate routing. And here we did provide an implementation, but the repetitive manufacturers, they don't use orders like manufacturing orders or instruction orders. For repetitive manufacturers, they use production versions, and so here we stopped implementation for repetitive manufacturer scenarios at the task list level. And the other things that you see here, especially the reference operation set, is quite something we also thought about as we implemented execution steps for standard routings, but we did not deliver the Xstep implementation reference operation sets for several reasons, and also the feasibility study showed that it was quite good not to ship it because a lot of open questions and challenges arose that we now were able to solve. Okay, order categories. So if we talk about order categories, these are order categories that use this same includes or subroutines that manufacturing orders and meaning process orders and production orders use. And here we have, let's say, a product cost collector, an inspection lot, as well as a QM order that don't really fit into the structure, into the Xstep context that we have. You might remember that Xsteps have a context, either they have a context with relation to a header of an order or a task list, or you have Xstep context of an Xstep block, which is assigned to an operation or phase. And for order categories 5, 6, and 50, the structure of those orders is quite different. Therefore, we don't use it. What we did is we had it for the implementation of Xsteps for maintenance orders, because maintenance orders also are quite similar with to manufacturing orders with respect to operation and header usage. And this is also what I want to show you. So you see, we got a lot of task lists that can now implement Xsteps, and also one additional order category that was introduced. Okay, now something about the challenges. We were quite more coding changes that we expected. The most easy one is the application registration and customizing, and also implementing the Xstep bodies. This means we already had implementation for evaluation symbol or generation scopes that fit to standard routings, and most of these implementations can completely be reused for other task list types. And this is done by simply adding the new task list type as a filter criteria to the body implementation, which is quite easy. We had also care for routing coding changes. We had to change some of the routines and also some subroutines and some parts of coding that's reused by or used by all other task list types. We had also to change elements in the GUI status. This means we introduced mainly Xstep function codes, so you can, on the one hand, directly access the Xstep editor, or on the other hand, then also navigate to control instruction maintenance transactions CO53XT for the maintenance orders. We had also to add some additional entries in screen sequence control. This means this is the heart of the navigation for our task lists and also maintenance orders that allows us from jumping from the order header directly to the operation overview or to the component overview. And this is has to be maintained in some tables, which is also not that easy to understand. And what was also quite nice to see is that we had some new data structures and table types, dictionary tables for the storing context of the new task list and the context for the header or the operations Xstep nodes. Concerning the order coding changes, there are some checks in shared coding that all order categories used, and these checks, they check for if the order category is of type production order, process order, then Xstep coding is processed. And as far as we wanted to also to add the maintenance orders for it, we had to remove or replace those checks. And there have also been some changes or extensions concerning the coding of maintenance orders, which was also expected and also was able to be realized. Other coding changes, we got some minor coding changes that we made due to the fact that we want to harmonize UI labels and also search helps for those maintenance transactions. We also introduced new style sheets for work instructions that are based on maintenance orders. You will see some examples of this. And also some minor entries have to be added that Xsteps business processes also are able to be executed in maintenance orders. So, and there we got some challenges that we did not foresee. And one challenge you can also just forget because it's quite technical is that our manufacturing orders, they use one table for screen sequence control functionality, and maintenance orders did not use this easy one. Alternatively, they use the screen sequence control functionality that standard routings like or master recipes used, which was quite a little bit more work to be done, but also solvable. We had also to create additional coding because some of the subroutines that we use to call the Xstep editor, also to call the process control instructions, etc., they have interface parameters which are quite different or don't fit to the let's say the screen sequence control that is used for maintenance orders, because remember the section above, there's a different way to determine which screen has to be processed next if you navigate from one screen to another. And this means that we had to create additional coding. Which was one point which was not nice is that especially the existing GUI statuses of maintenance orders, they're quite completely filled with function codes, and so sometimes we only had one place, one free slot, where we just want to interact with the Xstep editor. And one target that we had was that the maintenance or especially the shortcuts for the calling of the Xstep editor should be the same in all order categories, in all orders of order categories, but due to the fact that we had to use a different position, we weren't able to do so. Okay, but this was also manageable. Okay. There was something that we were not aware of. If we have, let's say, the usage of the PI sheet coding, as far as we want to simulate PI sheets in the Xstep editor, so-called object service coding is processed. And what we really don't know was that many maintenance orders also created their own instance of object services, and this clashed and created short dumps, but we developed a workaround. But here also, meaning this is really prototyping, a standard functionality should at least use a better way to handle this. Okay, and what was also quite something that we really don't expect in that variety was that we really want to know, or really need to know, if we have, let's say, Xstep coding executed, which application is currently calling us. And here we got the problem that not in all cases we got this information. And therefore, as a consequence, we created additional methods for setting and getting the Xstep applications. And we had, let's say, more changes in the existing coding that we use for manufacturing orders than we really expected and really wanted. And this means also, this is something, which means as far as, let's say, this Xstep functionality is extended for other categories, there's really a significant amount of testing also the existing functionality. Up to now, we did not got big problems with that, but there are still, let's say, some points that have to be thoroughly tested. Okay. One thing that really drove me crazy was the problem that as far as we use the reference operation sets, that there was a kind of coding that eliminates, let's say, one of the important key information that we use to determine which Xstep belongs to an operation. So this PLNKN number. And here we normally use this information to be able to know that this execution step belongs to operation 10 or operation 20 because they have different PLNKN numbers. But as far as we have reference operation sets, there was a quite different behavior that nobody of us was aware of. And it took quite some time and some effort, but we then were able to at least reconstruct information that allows us to probably assign the execution steps to also those nodes of operations of reference operation sets. Okay, so after having talked quite something about the challenges and the background of the prototype, I'll show you some slight parts of the demo. One thing that I want to show is how reference operation sets use Xstep functionality. Next part would be to show you how standard routings are processed that contain execution steps from reference operation sets. I want also to show you how a production order looked like that was created using standard routing with reference operation sets as a template, and also how the maintenance of Xsteps looks like in equipment task list as an example for additional task list types. And the last one would be one where I want to just to show you if we have a maintenance orders and create execution steps, how it looks like on its way to electronic work instructions. Okay, thank you. It's quite too far. I will just switch the shared screen. So. And now I will just show you something. Okay. One general remark which I did not edit is that the system yes.
Would you mind going into English mode?
No, I will just tell you why it's not possible. First thing of all, the original development language here for the coding was German, and what you see here is a development system of our consultant colleagues, which is modified, meaning the complete Xstep functionality that was newly, let's say, developed for the prototype is implemented via modifications. I will just, and also, the language elements are just in German. But I will also explain you what the labels are. Okay, here we have a maintenance of reference operation sets. For those of you who are not that familiar, reference operation sets are mostly used in discrete manufacturing. And they, let's say, got the flavor as being also sometimes templates for other routing types, but also contain information about, let's say, procedures like cleaning, cleaning machines or cleaning equipment, which you define once and which you integrate via referencing the reference operation sets into standard routings, meaning that the maintenance effort for, let's say, these repetitive activities, cleaning activities, is quite low. And so if we compare it with the Xstep functionality, such reference operation sets more behave like our standard Xsteps we use in the Xstep repository. Okay, here is just an example. It's mostly common for task list type maintenance that you have to enter a task list type group. Here I will just change the plant 1000, and so I don't enter the routing task list type alternative. Okay, this is an information pop-up, meaning, okay, system detected this reference operation set is already used in standard routing, and means also if I do changes here, then these changes will reflect or will be reflected in all routings that reference this reference operation set. Okay, sorry.
So this is a little bit like the standard Xsteps, correct?
Yes.
So like the standard Xsteps are influencing every Xstep where they are used to. These reference routings are the same for routings.
So just not that good, but we'll find one. Okay, here we go. Just got the wrong plant, as you see. And here, after you call the change transaction, you see we have operation overview, where you can also maintain operations. Of course, you don't have a column for the control recipe destination. You have also the work centers that can be added, and also the control keys. And what we do have here is a standard reference operation set with two operations. One is called execute worklist check, and one is called verify check execution with digital signature. You can see also here is the component assignment, so you can also assign components to these reference operation sets. You can also assign production resource tools, which is quite different from maintenance of master recipes, but also possible for standard routings and similar things like that. What you see here, this is part of the modification, is the famous Xstep ice cube, where we navigate to the Xstep part, and now I just will delete my breakpoints. Okay, and what I prepared here is like you are used to maintain executions, that you can do quite the same in master recipes, in standard routings, and also here in reference operation sets. I created an Xstep tree, created also Xsteps, which contains references to standard Xsteps, and also here what you can see is I have the step context to operation 10, and here the step context to operation 20. And what we like to do is to simulate this tree. And here, this is the result of the simulation, which is quite, I'm just surprised because I got the wrong one. This is, let's say, the simulation of the checklist and the simulation of the digital signature, the signature that's assigned to here from this one. Okay, just checking this one. Okay, what you can then do with this reference operation set, you can use this reference operation set as a copying template if you create a standard routing. Meaning, if you create an Xstep tree here in your reference operation set, then the Xstep tree will be copied into the standard routing that you create based on reference operation set as a template, and gets automatically the proper context of the standard routing. What I want to show as a next step is we have a standard routing. Just go with the back. Also showing you standard routing that references reference operation sets. And here we got a couple of one. And if we have a look at alternative 2, then we see, okay, here, these are operations that I once created for this standard routing. And these operations in the gray, they're gray shaded. These are operations that come from reference operation sets that are taken into this standard routing. One thing that's quite important, you see, okay, here we have these added operations. You can't change them. You can just change them in the reference operation set. And as far as you change here also the description or content of this operation, that was referenced here in this operation 11 of the standard routing, then the changes immediately are reflected. Meaning also, if we have Xstep trees that we created for a reference operation set, changes on the Xstep trees are also automatically reflected. So we don't store the Xstep tree nodes that come from the reference operation set, but we keep it as a kind of a reference. Was also a decision in this prototype. If we have these reference operations of reference operation sets, then we wanted to add if we have Xsteps created for those reference operation sets as Xstep tree node, which then gets the context of the operation that takes the reference information to the reference operation set. And if you might remember the things that we just saw a couple of seconds ago, this was the original Xstep tree of the reference operation set. And here's the generated node for the operation 11 in the standard routing that takes the reference to the reference operation set. You just copy it, and here also you see there's the context of the reference operation set. You can just try.
But the operation numbers there in that reference set is not the one that are here in this standard. Yeah.
No.
So here
No.
It says 11, 13 or 51
Yeah.
or 52, but in the Xstep it's still the original text which says 10 and 20. Yes.
In as far as here the concerning reference operation sets, here we have let's say the linkage as a reference, and I can just skip it, just show you how you normally would reference reference operation sets. You mark one operation, click this button for a reference, and you have to define a new operation for the standard routing, which you can then also name new ref. And then we just okay, keep here see if we can, sorry, this was the wrong one, don't want to use it for master recipe. See what we can find here. Okay, because we use a different one that I created. This means I take the complete reference operation set, so there's no chance or no way to just add operation 10 or operation 20 of reference operation set. You have to reference a complete reference operation set with the task list type group number and the alternative. And here we have an counter that creates the added reference operation, and so this means if I got it to 10, then I expect the following. I just added in a new reference operation set, and you see this was the reference operation that I created, and it also got the information of the first operation of this reference operation sets, and the next ones are generated as generated information, which where the operation numbers are increased by 10. What's important to know, as far as I have the standard routing, then the operations or the context and the node information of these operations that are here coming from reference operation sets, they aren't stored to the database table of the standard routing. Only the information of the operation that gets the link to the reference operation set is stored. This means, also what I explained to you earlier, any changes on the reference operation sets that you do are immediately reflected. But here's also something that can be done with the references. As far as you have those references, you can also explode the references. This means that these operations are converted to operations of the standard routings and can also then be changed. Yeah. So perhaps you can see what it was looked like. So this was the part. This have been the Xstep trees of the reference operation set. Now we got a new node, which derives from the reference operation set that I added. And here also we got the Xstep tree of this reference operation set, which contains also more standard Xstep reference nodes and Xsteps. And what we support is, as far as we would can try to do so. This means unlock the reference. Means that what happens is, okay, we have a dump, which is quite good because it's a prototype system. It worked before, so this means that reference operation set operations and also the Xstep content is then copied into the standard routing and gets then operation number of the standard routing. So what I just want to show you, as far as we just try to do so again. I want to check the Xsteps that I have for this alternative. Okay. And now I just want to create a production order that uses this standard routing, and we'll see what then happens. Okay, hopefully it works. So I just added amount of 100 kilograms. Want to use termination today, and here, sorry. Try to choose one of our favorite task list type. I want to choose our standard routing we brought, the alternative 2. Okay, so can't show you that. Did some checks, some repairs. It failed. So perhaps we got luck and use one that I created before. Reading the order. It was the same order that uses the same task list type. And what you see here is that operations that come from the reference operation sets, they've been converted into operations of this production order. Remember, I got one reference operation set at this point in time. I want to use the worklist check. I want to verify the check execution. And the next integration of the reference operation set operations have been here for 51 and 52. And if we now check the execution steps, I created also some control instructions that you can see here that the context of the production order was the proper one. So here we got the operation 51 and 52, and also the sample checklist that we use as a checklist example will then get the context of this. Okay, perhaps I'll just try to create, sorry. to create one control instruction for testing again. So what happens here could be that I have a productive one. Okay, that's telling me too much. It just says that it can't be executed, but it doesn't matter. We go for CO53XT, where I prepared something. Could be that I have to change the plant, see what we find. Okay, here's one control instruction that I created. And perhaps one step back is you see here as a label, it means Auftrag, meaning order. And if you have a check on this F4 help, you'll see that there are some F4 helps you might know. You can check for production orders or process orders. And here just integrated search helps that allows you to search for maintenance orders. These are the ones that are quite below service orders and service orders by customers. And this is something that also is part of this prototype. So here is CO53XT. You can also check for the orders, also for maintenance orders, and select them. Okay, so we then go to our electronic work instruction maintenance transaction. You might recognize that here is an additional field for the order category, and there's a drop-down box that allows you also to either select production orders or process orders or maintenance orders. And here we search for maintenance orders, and so could be that I have to was quite wrong. We have the production order, not the maintenance order. And here is the electronic work instruction that I created. And in operation 11 and operation 13, these are the parts that we defined in the reference operation set. You see here our famous checklist from the Xstep library. I can just set the status that the work center status was checked. Yes, it was. Set it wasn't checked, and just to create a signature. And operation 20 and operation 30 and 40, these operations, they have been originally maintained in the standard routing. So see,
such a setup does not have to be like that. So you could combine it in one phase or operation. It's just for the sake of demonstrating how these phases come into, or operations come into place. So, for example, the signature would normally not be in a separate operation, but just below the checklist.
So demo. It's just demo. You see that everything looks that proper. Okay, so this is something that works. There's something that I didn't implement. Reference operation sets can also be added by trigger points in the production order. Here the coding passages are identified, but also we had not, let's say, that time to go into that detail, and also the feedback that we got is that this trigger point functionality isn't that used extensively by our discrete customers, but this might change. Okay, so next part, what I would like to show you is here is the maintenance of equipment equipment task list, and just want to show you how here Xsteps are accessed. Also operation overview, quite a couple of operations, And similar to the, let's say, the way we address the Xstep editor in standard routings, we access the Xstep functionality via the operation overview. And also, if you check this, you see the same buttons and possibilities for navigation into operations or navigation into the material component overview, like we had it for the standard routing here. So, meaning if you are familiar with maintaining Xsteps for standard routings, you should be able to also maintain Xsteps for equipment task list types and other similar task list types.
But Uwe, probably there are some symbols or generation scopes missing that you would normally need. So that's something that customers would need to code in the body.
Yeah, surely. And also, if we will see this if we then come to the last part of the demo for maintenance orders, then we have also, let's say, should have discussions about additional selection criteria for those parts. Well, it just executed. It was a simulation of our electronic work instruction, what you might have recognized here. This is the style sheet for the maintenance orders of electronic work instructions that are created for maintenance orders, used for task list types that are the basis of, or can be the basis of maintenance orders. And here's also a new label that says, okay, this is a maintenance or a service order with the order number, which is here during simulation in the task list type, the key of the task list itself. And also here a list. We have a generation for all operations and just displayed the parameter values for each operation. So it's quite similar concerning the Xstep functionality. That's how you are used to use Xstep functionality in standard routings or master recipes. Okay, hopefully I will then go for the maintenance order. So let's say the dumps that you saw was also consequence of something that I discovered yesterday, which was not that quite nice. It was also due to the fact that though I created new XSL style sheets for maintenance for electronic work instructions, they just have been taken into account during simulation, but not as far as we wanted to create electronic work instructions via test control instructions. And here I did some changes, but it seems that there must be some additional changes for that. So it's just prototyping. And so now, maybe that I have to, okay, I will just skip that and go for this one. Okay, it was just one step back. This is the maintenance transaction for maintenance orders, similar to the transactions used for manufacturing orders. Here also we have an order header with a text, but we have a lot of additional information on the order header, which you don't find in that extent in manufacturing orders. What's quite similar is that we have also operations and material components. And here for our maintenance orders, I just also created execution steps with a generation scope. I just want to an output of the operation short text, and I added 2 additional Xsteps that I assigned to operation 10 and operation 20. One was for that contains the checklist that we just saw, and one contains the signature that we just saw. So here also same way to maintain execution steps like manufacturing orders and maintenance orders also. And the possibility, just trying to check this, perhaps could be that we also stumble into problems, that we create control recipes for testing, just that I succeeded. Now see if it really works fine. We save it. Then we go to our famous, sorry, typo. I think it was plant 1000. No. And if I would just set a quite proper variant to select all control instructions, then you see, okay, here we got one control instruction to this maintenance order, which was created just a couple of seconds ago. And I would like to send it. So also sets me okay, successfully send it. And now we just go to 060xt. And here we have to choose maintenance order. And now we find two ones. Something that I created yesterday and something that I just newly created. And you see, if we open this electronic work instruction, it contains two operations. Here one part was the operation number and the operation short text that comes from automatic valuation of Xstep parameters. Also the checklist that was added here was the checklist of the standard Xstep reference. And operation 20 just created that contains also the operation 20 and the operation short text of this operation that came from the generation for all operations of the maintenance orders, and something that I added in via this standard Xstep reference for operation 20. And yes?
Have you also investigated the process messages which you could use for this kind of order type? Like are the normal operation, the phase status confirmations working? Or what about material consumptions?
Yeah, I did not check this all in detail, but for those process instructions that are quite similar to those that we used for production orders, this should work. There's one, bless you. There's one, let's say, a distinct difference. Maintenance orders don't have byproducts at the order header, and have, let's say, order positions in the order header only. They don't use this, which got some caused some problems during creation of control instructions. But I would expect that at least material consumption should work. Something that is, let's say, also.
But also operation confirmation. Like
operation confirmation, I would also expect, but here I'm not the, let's say, the big expert for maintenance orders, but maintenance orders more have a focus on, let's say, the functional locations or equipments they are created to. So this is different from, let's say, manufacturing orders that are created for materials mainly. So if we create a maintenance orders, we want to execute perhaps maintenance actions like cleaning the machine, like exchanging perhaps use production resource tools, or bringing the machine to work again if it was out of order. And here also the metadata that we see in the header. If we, let's just check this style sheet here, we have, let's see the order number, and what we don't have is a material. So also we don't have any batches, but we could have information, or we could expect information about the equipment for which the maintenance order is created to, or the functional location for which the maintenance order is created to. And I would expect to have say more maintenance like metadata in the style sheet, but also as a selection criteria for the work list. Here I just added the order type, but if you just scroll down, you see you have the start point and end point, the terminated start, terminated end. You have the material number, which really makes no sense for maintenance orders. The batch makes no sense, and also inspection lot is not that helpful. And
also for, when you're talking about metadata, so that's also something you would need to extend, create your own characteristics, which you need to evaluate so that they appear then in the metadata. So all these things would have to be done.
Could be that let's say some of the we have this PPPI work center characteristic, but for equipment numbers or so, it would be, let's say, necessary or recommended to have additional characteristics here. It's really not a big deal, because the part of the coding where the style sheets exchange happens for the maintenance orders is also the part of the coding where additional metadata tags have to be inserted, and you can also add the additional metadata via the Xsteps that we already showed in the one of our XStepCafe sessions.
Do you have always a standard style sheet depending on your order type somewhere defined? Because I assume it's not always the same style sheet what you are using in the background.
Yes, this is something that I introduced as far as we created the electronic work instructions, because the standard, if you don't, first, if you have these style sheets that you evaluated with the PPPI layout, then these style sheets are taken. But if you don't have PPPI layout, you have those standard style sheets, and without the style sheet exchange, you normally would have also for the electronic work instructions the style sheets that are used for PI sheets. It means face-oriented, which doesn't make any sense. And here I introduced some coding, and also this coding is used to exchange, let's say, the default style sheets that are used for process orders against either the style sheets for production orders, or here in our case with the help of the modification for maintenance orders. But
so if you don't define any user-specific style sheet in the Xsteps, automatically a standard style sheet is taken per order type, correct? Correct. And for the archiving, usually you have a different archiving style sheet, which is standard.
Yeah, this is also the same. So we prepared archiving style sheets for production orders that are standard with EHP3, and as far as the electronic work instructions are archived and called via optical archives, and then you get then these electronic work instructions are displayed using the archiving style sheet equivalent, which was created for the production orders. So it's quite the same logic that we already use. So yeah, quite correct. Here we also have in standard, there was archiving style sheets for production orders. But as far as it's clear here in our system, the archiving style sheets and also the style sheet for maintenance orders, these are modified style sheets. So, but the basis is for those maintenance order style sheets, they are the basis have been the production order style sheets. So they're quite similar and can also then be enhanced. Yeah. Yes.
I'm not sure whether you mentioned this in your presentation first, because I was busy doing something else. What about the effort? So everybody who now sees this and thinks, okay, I'd like to have it. So do you have any gut feeling idea what if you really want to productize or make a customer development project? How much effort would you look at?
Yeah. So let's say the fundamental information for implementing new task list types and order categories there are inside this prototype system, and I also wrote it down to paper. But at least some of the challenges, and we saw some shortcomings. They let's say require additional work to be done. It really then will also depend on the knowledge of the guys who do the custom development. But would say with the information that is presented here, you can at least create this functionality by modification, which is of course not a good solution for the companies who work in the regulated environment. Yeah. So would not expect that big surprises. Style sheets and all that stuff is created. Metadata part that I explained is something which would cause additional effort, which I would not rate that too high. Also, perhaps
additional symbols, generation scopes, messages.
Also, production resource tools which are commonly used, and also, let's say that this is a selection screen for the work list. I would then recommend to use a creative variant of CO60XT that is suited for also the folks that create maintenance orders.
So the answer to my question is, okay, it's not really, you cannot really tell. It really depends on how much you really want to implement there, how basic it should be or how complex it should be.
Yeah.
So it's really a real implementation project where you really have first to define what needs to work and what does not have to work.
Yeah, and also let's say this is the current status of the prototype. Yesterday I discovered also two things. Also, generation for all operations seems not to work that fine, but there are some minor points that I didn't discover during my first researches. And let's say the main thing where I think that it's where we have on the one hand the implementation efforts, so on the other hand the effort for testing let's say current Xstep functionality for the orders and mostly for the manufacturing orders, because there are some changes in the coding, and you should would not say set such coding productive without really detailed testing. But we're not concerning implementation. We are not talking about hundreds of man days. So would be also the idea. This is also why we showed this. Could be that some of the customers are here involved say, okay, well, let's do a customer connect project together with consultant partners or SAP consulting. We heard the questions how about especially implementation of maintenance orders. Sometimes from also customers from discrete industries that had our Xstep classroom training, and so this is quite a good basis for let's say building a product on it. But as I told you before, it's just prototype. It's and we don't have SAP don't have any plans to do this in standard up to now. Yeah, depends also on the customers. If enough customers say, okay, we need this and address this to the SAP channels, meaning not Arne and me myself, official channels, then might be an opportunity for SAP to invest here. And also with regards to the fact that at least some of the architectural challenges are solved, or at least are handled, then the overall effort should not be that high. Yeah. So from the demoing, this is it at this point in time.
Right. So we are also at the end of our 1 hour slots. Any questions from our audience?
I know that the integration of an equipment plan, for example, or for maintenance orders, for example, for tearing, scales, and all this stuff, is always interesting. So, of course, it would be interesting if it's part of one of the next releases. But as far as I understand, currently you have to create a customer connect project, and then you would have the chance to get the enhancements that you have prototyped. Correct?
As far as yes, let's say from the way SAP interacts with customers, on the premise case, I would think that creating, or let's say collecting customers and heading for a customer connect would be a chance. I also don't know how far, let's say, our colleagues from SAP Consulting, especially the PBPI folks, they know about this prototype. They also gave me some feedback. We have one challenge also. I showed you just the pieces of the puzzle, but where I really get stuck is how you create maintenance orders from equipment task lists, because I'm here. My knowledge about maintenance orders is quite let's say limited, and this is also something that that's where the idea is that one can check together with your customers how this should behave. So I would expect that at least the information in the equipment task list and the Xstep trees that I maintain there are then copied into the maintenance orders which are created from the equipment task list, but I haven't been able to set up such a scenario. And this is
so Peter, on your question, so there has not been a Customer Connect project yet. So it's just a feasibility study. It's maybe a kind of giving you thought maybe to start one where whoever might be interested. So that's as it is right now.
You have the XStepCafe where you can leave some comments on this on a common site where.
Sure, but don't expect our SAP officials product management to look at that really.
No, but perhaps different customers.
Yeah, you can. Sure. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So from my side, I hope it wasn't that not too much technical stuff.
Not so much as the last time, I think. So I believe there has been a lot of work done from your side and also other people. So many thanks to you, Uwe, and whoever took part in that. That's a great piece of your work, I think. And and I think next time we probably just make an open session and again to for any kind of questions, probably if no specific request comes up to do something specific. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I think we can close the session for today. And have a nice day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.